Get ready to be stunned as yet another sign of the rapture has recently surfaced. Reports have come in that fallen angels have been discovered chained under the Euphrates River. So watch this video until the end to know more about this shocking revelation and what it could mean for the end times. The Euphrates River, known by various names across different languages and cultures, including Akkadian, Hebrew, and Syriac, is one of the two great rivers that define Mesopotamia. As stated in the Bible, God's promise of the land of Canaan, which includes Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, extends to this river. Euphrates in the Bible. According to Genesis chapter 2 verse 14, the Euphrates River is one of the four rivers that flow from the Garden of Eden, following the Pishon, Gihon, and Tigris. It marks one of the boundaries of the land promised by God to Abraham and his descendants. In the Hebrew Bible, it is often referred to as the river. Euphrates is a translation for gush forth or break forth. The book of Revelation prophesies that the Potamus Euphrates, meaning breaking forth like water, will dry up in preparation for the Battle of Armageddon. This river, symbolizing a major region in the Middle East, holds significant biblical and prophetic importance. Why are the angels bound to the river of Euphrates? According to Revelation chapter 20 verse 2, Satan's binding during the millennium is described by the Greek term dio, which means bound. Likewise, in Revelation chapter 9 verse 14, the angels are called bound to the river Euphrates. This connection is based on the Old Testament, where the Euphrates River was the boundary of the Garden of Eden. God promised Abraham the land from the Nile to the Euphrates. Scholar Grant Osborne suggests that the binding of the angels in Revelation chapter 9 may be related to the apocryphal text in 1 Enoch chapter 56 verses 5 to 57, where the angels of punishment are bound to the Euphrates. The term bound may signify that God is limiting the actions of these angels until the appointed time. In Revelation, the Euphrates dries up to pave the way for the kings of the east to conquer the area. The seven bowls of God's wrath. Revelation chapter 16, verse 1 to 11 describes how seven angels pour the seven bowls of God's wrath upon the earth. The first angel's bowl causes painful sores on those who bear the beast's mark. The second angel's bowl causes all living things in the sea to die and turns the sea into what appears to be blood. The third angel's bowl turns rivers and springs of water into blood. The fourth angel's bowl scorches people with fire, and the fifth angel plunges the beast's kingdom into darkness. Despite the severity of these plagues, the people affected do not repent and turn to God. Instead, they curse his name and refuse to acknowledge his power and glory. In Revelation chapter 16, verses 12 to 15, the sixth angel poured his bowl on the Euphrates River, causing its waters to dry. This prepares the way for the kings from the east to come and do battle at Armageddon. Three unclean spirits like frogs come to the mouths of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, and they go out into the world to perform signs and gather the kings for battle on the great day of God the Almighty. This serves as a warning to be ready for the return of Jesus Christ. The angel poured his bowl into the air in the seventh bowl, and a loud voice declares, "It is done." This causes lightning and thunder, earthquakes, and the great city to split into three parts. The cities of the nations fall, and every island flees away. Great hailstones fall from heaven, causing people to curse God for the severity of the plague. These events mark the end of the world as we know it, and Babylon the Great is made to drink the cup of wine of the fury of God's wrath. Revelation chapter 9 verse 14. In Revelation chapter 9 verse 13 to 14, the sixth seraphim angel blows his trumpet, and a voice from the golden altar commands the angel to untie the four angels that are bound at the great river Euphrates. The seraphs in heaven have priestly duties, including blowing trumpets, and are responsible for holiness. Therefore, it can be inferred that all angels blowing trumpets are seraphs. The voice giving the command may be Jesus as the high priest, one of the 24 elders, or another seraph in the altar. The high-ranking spirits include Jesus, elders, and seraphs are associated with the golden altar of incense. Isaiah chapter 6 verses 2 to 3 describes the Seraphs standing above God and calling out, "Holy, holy, holy." Luke chapter 1 verse 19 says, "I am Gabriel, who stands near before God." But it is uncertain whether Gabriel is one of the 7 trumpeting angels or the foremost of all Seraphs. According to the text, 7 primary Seraphs stand closest to God out of the millions of existing Seraphs. These 7 make up the 7 angels, who are individually given authority and power through 7 trumpets to commerce important spiritual events. The 7 trumpeting angels are likely to be the 7 foremost Seraphs, unlike any 7 angels. 4 living creatures with 6 wings stand around the throne of God, formed by millions of Seraphs. These creatures are full of eyes as they comprise many individual Seraphs, while only the 7 Seraphs closest to God are given the 7 trumpets. The others make up the 4 living creatures. These 4 living creatures cry, "Holy, holy, holy," and the voice of the Spirit High Priest, likely Jesus, comes out of the horns of the golden altar of incense for prayers. So, the human high priest on earth used the golden incense altar to offer prayers before God. Jesus, as a mediator, speaks on behalf of those praying, but he does not personally hear or take these prayers to God. After God reveals relevant details of the prayers to Jesus, he pleads for the individual praying and responds according to God's will. God is the ultimate listener of prayers. Jesus is the sole voice responding to the collective prayers of deceased servants of God, with the symbolic blood of slain witnesses represented on the heavenly altar, signifying their cries for justice. Jesus enters before God with the merit of his own faithful death, symbolically placing the value of his blood on the golden altar and responding to the prayers of those who have faith in him. As Jesus stated in Matthew chapter 28 verse 18, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth." John 14 chapter 13 to 14 further adds, "Whatever you ask in my name, I will do, so that the Father may be glorified in connection with the Son." The 4 angels that are bound. In the Bible, 4 often signifies balance and completeness, as in the 4 corners of the earth. For example, the 4 angels bound in Revelation represent the total number of angels assigned to the Euphrates surrounding the city of Babylon. However, their activity is limited to the waters around the city, which symbolizes a pagan and political center. The inner canals of the Euphrates, which led throughout the city, will be addressed later in Revelation chapter 17 when the city falls. The events at the symbolic Euphrates in chapter 9 verse 14 are just a prelude to what is to come. What does it mean that the 4 angels are bound? The binding and untying of angels in Revelation is a symbolic representation of their voluntary obligation to God. As Jesus said in Matthew chapter 16 verse 19, "Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you lose on earth will be lost in heaven." In Revelation chapter 9 verse 14, the 6th angel is instructed to untie the 4 angels bound at the Euphrates, representing all angelic groups assigned to that region. The phrase "myriads of myriads" in Revelation chapter 9 verse 16 suggests that many angels will assist the great crowd of God's servants from all nations who endured the Great Tribulation. Once the angels are unbound, they will keep the human servants. The Great River Euphrates. After the global flood, the Euphrates River supported and protected the city of ancient Babylon, where pagan false religion originated and spread. It was also controlled and manipulated by the Babylonian Empire. However, Babylon as a city has long ceased to exist. In Revelation, Babylon the Great is depicted as sitting on many waters, representing many peoples of languages and nations. This is a literal reference to the Euphrates and a figurative representation of the world empire of false religion which relies on people of all nations, the figurative Euphrates River waters, while controlling and manipulating them. The Euphrates represents people worldwide who support and are influenced by Babylon the Great. The outer part of the river serves as a protection and is represented by the confusion of the so-called Christian religions of Christendom. The inner canals represented people of non-Christian religions of falsehood. Revelation chapter 17 verse 1, 2, 5, chapter 18 verse 2 and 4. Therefore, it is likely that the four angels are stationed at the figurative Euphrates of Babylon the Great, where confusion within Christendom's religion exists. They must assist those in false religion to turn away from Babylon the Great and embark on the path to salvation through true worship. These angels will be released from their assignment to express God's displeasure towards false prophets and their religion. This may specifically target the part of false religion claiming to be Christian, representing 1/3 of the global population. Comment your views and subscribe for more.